the Hellblade girl the hottest girl in gaming at the moment? Jordan was just telling us, because on our pre-show, for those of you listening, on our intro there's a clip of Senua and her sacrifice.
And her sacrifice. And Jordan just said, man,
she's hot. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Well,
I find myself extremely attracted to her.
I'm oddly attracted to her.
And I posited it's because she's crazy.
But see, it also might be, I don't know.
Crazy girls are hot. I don't know why.
It might just be the scenery, because on our post-show, you have, Mark, you put one in there where Lara, whatever they want to call her nowadays. I don't know what it is.
Lara Croft?
Yeah, Lara Croft.
I call it Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Craft?
There's a big
I think
debate.
it's
There's a
Lara
big
Craft.
debate. As, you know,
Tomato.
It's interesting. I don't know.
F people in there.
Anyway, yeah, Lara.
Their language, whatever.
Lara Croft.
Hello, Lara.
Actually, I kind of want to call her Lara. I feel like it puts her in a higher class of...
Higher class of being?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
But Laura's nice, too, because it's just like, I don't know. Anyway.
These are deep thoughts from
Yeah, it
from
really
Jordan.
is what I think about during the week.
Laura sounds like she'll bake you cookies. You know, she seems
Lara
really sweet.
sounds like she'll take you to the opera.
Yeah, I got
Anyway,
you. Yeah.
no, there's this clip you have of her.
That's what they're calling it nowadays, huh?
Oh, okay.
We have this clip at the end where she's like coming out of water and there's fire behind her, and
Jordan just kind of glazes over. His eyes kind of just go.
I go, huh?
Senua.
That's an attractive video game character.
Oh yeah.
It is July 23rd, 2021, and Jordan is in heat. That's all that I got from this.
Yeah.
Flight Simulator, guys. We are on the week of Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator is coming. It's coming this week. I cannot wait.
You sound like an SEO ad. You keep saying Flight Simulator, Flight Simulator, Flight Simulator.
In case you missed it, Flight Simulator. It's coming this week. I'm super, super stoked for this. I think it's game changing. I think this really helps set Xbox apart from every other console out there. Can we bring up their latest trailer? Is Why I Can Fly. And what they've really highlighted here, we did a video about it on our channel this week where I reacted to it and I talked about it. Mm-hmm. They really are highlighting this coming to the Xbox Series X, and they're highlighting multiplayer, and it looks so much fun. I feel like they didn't highlight multiplayer so much. Not that one. There's one that came out like this week.
Yeah. Why I Fly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why I Fly.
Why I Fly. It's an Asian guy, Korean. Oh, that's it right there. DK.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, he talks about, so in this trailer for Microsoft Flight Simulator that's coming out next week, he talks about how he streams this game and he took members of his community and they were like, "Hey, let's fly from Tokyo to this other place." And he did it, and he's flying. I don't know where it was.
You know what? I'm just going to tell you right now, David. That's not going to fly if you're doing a flight path. You got to have the paperwork to know where you're going.
From Incheon to Tokyo Narita, and check this out. This is it. And everybody in the community lined up, and while he's flying, random people just joined his flight. And when he ended, hundreds of people were in his flight. Look at that, flying with him.
That's an air traffic controller nightmare.
Yeah, dude, what are they doing?
I said 15,000 feet.
Well, look at his setup. Go back. Look at his stream setup here. He's like in a cockpit. This guy, I subscribe to him just because of this.
Oh, he's wearing his outfit and everything. That's pretty cool.
So cool. And I think that this is what Flight Simulator is. I think I said it before. It has been niche. Bringing it to the Series X will make it less niche. If you like Sea of Thieves, this is Sea of Thieves simulated with planes.
But in the air.
In the air. Because it's sandbox. It's do whatever you want to do in hyper-realistic simulation mode with your friends. Why not? I mean, look at that. And they've said repeatedly over the last few weeks, we're not losing anything on the Series X, which is impressive.
Yeah, because of
impressive.
I believe cloud computing is helping with that.
Yeah.
It's giving a little nudge here or
A
there.
little bump.
So, am I overstating it? Where am I wrong? I think this is one of the biggest games of the year. I think it really sets apart the Series X. Jordan, thoughts?
Well, no, I think it's a unique game to have on your system. I mean, what other system out there has a full-on flight simulation? I mean, the PC, obviously, because it's there as well. But it's unique in the fact that you cannot get this game on either Nintendo or Sony. You know what I mean? I think it's a very unique game. I think I think there will probably be a surge of players at the beginning wanted to try it out, and then I think it'll just kind of taper off to the usuals. But I do think it's a game that people will always come back to, kind of in those palate cleansing
It
times.
is the ultimate palate cleanser.
Yeah, it really is.
Ultimate palate
It's
cleanser.
It's going to have the same type of success, I think, for Xbox and Game Pass that Sea of Thieves has had, in that it's perpetual. There will always be added to. There will always be new things. A year from now, this dropped this week. Helicopters are coming.
Yeah, that I remember we talked about that at the beginning. I wonder if there's going to be helicopters, and I believe both of you called me stupid.
We did, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're like, Jordan, it's about airplanes.
Wait, what time did we call you stupid?
They're like,
one time.
You're like, Jordan, this is about airplanes. Don't be stupid.
Well, I mean, were we right?
I
were
would
we
like
wrong?
helicopters.
we were right at the time.
But how would you? How would you? You'd have to get a whole new setup for the helicopter, because from what I understand, helicopters fly differently.
Well, yeah.
Isn't there like a whole other axis?
But
to
I
a
use the
helicopter?
same inputs. You know, I'll still use a
lights,
controller.
wheels.
I'll still use my Thrustmaster.
The Thrustmaster.
No, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna use my controller, because we're gonna play this on the console. See how it is. I'm gonna use my Thrustmaster, of course.
Oh, baby.
Yeah,
But my key bindings, because I assume they'll have a pretty extensive key binding just like they do on the computer. I'm basically going to use my controller as my Stream Deck.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because I use my Stream Deck right now as like all my flight controls and talk to
That's
the
a
tower
good way
and all
to
that
do
stuff.
it.
So I think I'm going to use my
Are you
controller
going to
as
flip
that.
your Elite controller upside down?
Yeah, so I have those buttons on the bottom.
Oh no, this would be a perfect chance to get the pad for accessory, whatever, you know, the
That's
Yeah, the
right.
big-
The accessible, the Xbox.
White pad.
yeah, I don't know what it's
I think
for.
it's the accessible.
It's for
controller.
handicapped disabled people.
It has like 20 USB plugs on it to do whatever the
That's
crap you want.
actually genius.
Yeah, and
Well,
you're
you-
like, the big red button is landing gear. Pop that sucker.
I mean, how much is that? What is it, $100?
I think so. No, it's actually a
There
very
is
cool
some-
controller.
there
And I'm
is
glad
some really
Microsoft
cool-
made it.
Good question.
There's some really cool peripherals
Adaptive
coming out
controller, I think. The
for
Xbox
Flight
Adaptive
Simulator.
Controller.
Look that up.
Yeah, there's some really interesting peripherals coming out for Flight Simulator that's going to be... I mean, this is going to take a next level. In chat, AOG says, you're losing the ability to mod the game and use mods like VetSim. So, not completely, AOG. You are correct there. You have to create the mods on the PC and then bring them in through the store. So any mods available will still be available, but they have to be brought in through the store that way.
Which is
Yeah.
pretty much how every other game has ever done mods.
Yeah, like
to a console.
Skyrim, that's the same way it works with Skyrim.
Now, the difference between this and, say, like a Skyrim is you don't have to rebuy the game.
yeah.
To go mod
Also,
on
there's
PC
no
or-
magic in this one.
Yeah,
Also,
that-
listen to me. Also, you
Well,
will not
let's
be
be
attacked
honest.
by a flying
There's no sneak-
Thomas the Tank Train. As a
Wait,
mod.
but as a mod, can't you do that? Or is the Flight Simulator mod store very high end?
I think it's pretty high end.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
this community wants simulation.
Those types of modders get shunned.
I got a question here about this from Andrew Coulinane. He writes in and says, I have the Thrustmaster for Xbox, and I'm wondering if anyone has used this for Flight Simulator and if it's any good. Feels like there could be too many cockpit controls with such a small amount of buttons on the Thrustmaster. This is where you're talking about your controller.
Yeah.
Using your controller.
Well,
Give him the breakdown.
I have used the Thrustmaster. I'm probably using the same one as you, because if it's the one for the Xbox, that one can also double as PC because it has a switch on the back. So I used that one with Flight Simulator on the PC. Now the difference is I completely modded out my Stream Deck, which is what is it, like 5x5? It's the big one, you know. So I had tons of different buttons. Now I am losing a lot of those buttons because there's only so many buttons on the controller, and I'm telling you, I had pages and folders. Like there was a whole folder just dedicated to my lights.
There is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, my runway lights, my I'm coming in lights, it's dark lights.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a lot.
Yeah, cabin lights.
But see, you don't necessarily. I mean, it's nice to have those.
Yeah.
But you can sit in the cockpit and look around and touch
Yeah.
every button and do the same thing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be.
Which I assume they're gonna make somewhat user friendly on the controller on the piece or on the Xbox, but it'll be interesting. I don't know. So you are losing a little bit of those buttons like you would have with like different peripherals you have on the PC, but I think that's
And it is keyboard. You can plug in your keyboard as well, so you could always use your
actually I'll
joystick
just use
and
my
plug in a
I'll just
keyboard.
use my keyboard then.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I'll just use
then
my
you have
keyboard,
lots
yeah.
of buttons.
and then you can use your joystick.
I'll just get like a wireless
Your Thrustmaster.
Logitech and just plug it into the back of the box so it's always there.
If you don't want to do that, there is again peripherals, and the peripheral from, is it Turtle Beach?
Turtle Beach came out with
Yeah,
their
the
new
yoke.
big
And
boy
it's
one.
got buttons and the whole shot. It's cool.
I think we should get it.
It looks cool. I think we should too.
What's like $350, right?
Let's do it.
I mean,
Oh yeah, I never thought of it that way, Jordan.
I mean, there's two things you can do in life. You can worry about money, or you can not.
Or
No?
you can not and get into debt and then not worry about the debt. And then lose your house and not worry about that either.
But
So
you
I
enjoy
how are you guys surviving in life?
because there's two things you can do. You can worry about stuff in life, or you cannot.
Yeah, that's how I survive by not caring. Great question. Great question. Blah blah blah. I can't spot.
Very
Look,
good.
Great
I'm just saying,
question, Andrew.
If you haven't seen this, what's this video called? The Why I Fly. Go look at this video. This is cool. It's so cool to see all these planes just flying together over these cities.
And I like that he's using like the most simple plane as well.
Yeah, it's like a
Not this
like
one. That one that's behind him.
Yeah, it's like a tree plane.
It's
you know?
like a personal
Tree plane?
You know the planes that like they're gliders and they call them like tree hoppers because they usually kind of go low with the trees.
Yeah.
What
It's-
city is that?
Australia, probably. New York, Manhattan. I don't know.
I flew in Australia.
Tokyo. I don't know.
Tokyo. A big city. Sounds like a big city.
Got buildings. There's a lot of water.
So,
Coastal.
Austin Flowers, a.k.a. Death Star Destroyer. Death Star Destroyer, how you doing, brother? Welcome. It's good to see you here. He asked the question, he writes in, with Microsoft Flight Simulator coming next week to console, which airport or landmark are you excited to visit? For me, it's the Courchevel Airport in France from James Bond Tomorrow Never Dies and to fly over Tokyo at night. Can't wait to go flying. See you all in the skies. Big Spicy, where are you looking to go? What airport around the world will you start flying with, and then what landmark?
This is like one of my favorite parts of this game. I don't know how many days into playing it on the PC that it was until I realized that you can actually go to Google Maps and get the latitude and longitude up in the URL wherever you're looking at, and then copy and paste that in, which I assume you'll be able to do in this game too. Although you won't be able to copy and paste. You'll have to put like -14-003579, whatever it is. But with that, I was able, it changed the game entirely for me because I started going, okay, let me look at lists. I'll just Google search 20 cool places to visit on the Earth. And I found this like Crescent Moon Island in the middle of nowhere, like 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. And I went and flew there. It was awesome and it's because the game is generated and has the engine is part of the GPS, or not GPS, the satellite, that
Bing.
Yes, thank you. That they have all in there. And then I started I mentioned on the show before I went to Chernobyl because I wanted to check that place
It was
out.
surprisingly green.
It was. It had a couple buildings.
Yeah.
It's like, huh.
I think there was a small town there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think people live there, but there's stuff there. Wasn't my favorite place, but I'm glad that I visited it to know that. Once you start doing that, the whole game like opens up, and the vistas are beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I thought had issues was the Great Wall of China.
They thought it was houses.
Well, yeah, because the satellite, I wonder if China doesn't allow certain things.
Oh, I see.
And the satellite view thought it was buildings, and so it was kind of weird. So maybe there's some places in China that won't be like that because I wanted to visit the Great Wall of China. That was the only weird one. But now I know that the Great Wall of China is weird in that game. But
well, they might have like done something so that it's not following the satellite maps.
Well,
and
I
they
know,
go in and
like
add their
when
own
we were
stuff.
playing, there was a few bugs where sometimes like roads were underneath rivers. They just had to, and they had to go in and. I mean, the world's a big place.
no,
huge.
And
You got to tweet.
super cool to punch in Paris. Once you find Paris, I found the Louvre. Then we saw.
Well, yeah, you remember what we did? So I don't know what it's called, but those of you who have been to Paris, there's a giant roundabout with a huge arch in the
It's the
middle.
Napoleon thing
Sure, yeah, that one. We tried to fly through it, which is surprisingly hard.
because it's not that big.
Yeah, it's not
we were
as big
just
as
in
you.
Cessnas.
Yeah, it's not as big as you think, but it was fun to try and fly through that Napoleon thing. Is what it was.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, North Korea has no lights. I'm looking at chat. They're like naming places they could go. North Korea has no lights.
Super Shocker would like to go to Easter Island. That's a cool idea.
Cool.
That's really cool.
One of my favorite places that it became my like zen after flying everywhere was Vegas at night. I love.
Cool.
Actually, I think I have
The city that never sleeps.
Because you actually have basically a little cut of the world in Vegas. There's the Paris Statue of Liberty. There's
I have this.
pyramids?
I have background footage that I put before the stream right here. I'll pull it up. This is actually me. For those of you listening, I'm putting a clip of me flying over Vegas.
There's a strip on the right-hand side.
Yeah, this is me flying through Vegas. I put this up while we're loading the stream and setting it up all the time.
Look how good that looks.
But it's so awesome. And then you go, of course I'm flying at a good, 5,000 feet here. But I can go down lower and...
it's hypnotic with your light flashing.
Yeah.
The whole shot. Let's just put that up with the three of us underneath. Let's keep that up while we talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Why not? Are we able to?
We're not able to.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
it's not a YouTube video or anything like that. Sorry.
I think this might be a giant community event that we set up, flying to somewhere, from somewhere. I'm very excited. I think we can do the things that we can do, the community building. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I already got things planned in my head. I want to do like a Salt Lake City to Seattle. Minimal fuel. Let's see who makes it.
Minimal fuel.
And that's the fuel is honestly the hardest part. I don't know how pilots do it because I want to redline this sucker all the way there. It really is just because the game shows you the range of if you switch
and you're
planes,
I can make it.
Shows you this plane can go all the way to Paris. This plane can only go to Florida. You're looking around. You're like, I'll take the big plane. And you'll never make it that far.
Because you're cranking it. And there's so much more that goes in it because you have to stay pointed a certain way for it's really cool. Anyway, I would set your settings to more arcadey at first, which is still kind of simulation-y, and then as you feel comfortable, kind of turn things on one at a time, just like you would like a Forza game. But
yeah. But to go back to Austin's Death Star Destroyer's question. It's up to you. I honestly, we got this. We started playing this game at the end of 2020, right? I think that's when we started.
It was towards the middle-ish end.
Middle-ish end, and
it was like November.
It was like me and Jordan had this moment of, wow, we never have to go outside ever again because it was a pandemic, anyways.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, I never have to travel ever. This is amazing. Yeah, we were flying through the Grand Canyon together. Woo!
What is someone in chat? If you know the answer to this, I'm googling. I can't find it. What is the max players in voice chat on the Series X? Did that get bumped up?
I thought it was 24.
I thought
is it 24 or 32?
Because I thought it wasn't 12, then 16, then 24, or something.
I think
like
it might be 24, but that could be wrong.
We need to do this. We're going to be doing some community flights. It's going to be awesome. That drops this week, everybody. Very excited. Jordan, where do you want to go to? What's your favorite place to visit? You want to do Salt Lake to where?
Those are just different. Yeah, Salt Lake to Seattle,
challenges?
minimal fuel.
Minimal fuel.
Yeah.
We all have to be in the same plane. It'd be cool to all be in the same plane.
Everybody's got to be in the same plane.
Now, here's the thing. The way that this game works is while you're flying, other people can be in your world. So I wonder if on the Series X, it'll automatically grab your friends from a friends list and put you
Well, the odds of your friends being in the same place as you is pretty slim.
No, but
because it is the world.
But on a globe in the world, yeah, that's the where you can see look, Mr. McSpicy's over.
He's in China.
In the
you could do that, and I would go to where Jordan.
No. Yeah, the reason we could do that is we were always shown in the world because
we were
friends list.
Yeah.
So I assume it'll probably do something.
It's a setting inside the game. That's how it was on PC.
Yeah, I'm actually interested. So I haven't played Flight Simulator in a little while. I'm kind of waiting for it to come out on the Xbox to play it, but I'm interested to go in and see the live stuff because you can play the game with live flights going on. Because when we played the game, airplanes were shut down.
Yeah, so the
skies were blank.
The skies were clean.
Yeah. So now it'll be interesting to see how many planes are actually up there because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Spicy, do you think this sets...
Put on some just random footage.
Do you think this sets apart the Xbox Series X in a way that I do? I think this sells. This is a console seller, in my opinion.
Sure, but remember, it's still a niche game. I mean, you're probably not going to get your first-person shooter guys to come out and buy an Xbox just for this because they probably don't even know this game came out.
Yeah, no, that's true. However, I think think streaming. Think what was done for Sea of Thieves by streamers, I think the same thing can be happening here, particularly multiplayer streams. Big streamers, let's go on a flight. Oh, you guys want to fly with me? Come fly with me. Some people will be crashing into you.
I don't. They like phase in and out of each other, so you can can't do that. You can't Star Wars it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You got to hyperdrive Star Wars that sucker. Yeah. But no, it's I think it definitely is. I think if you taste it, you want to play it.
Yeah.
The problem is getting people to taste it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, but like I said, the streaming's probably going to be the best bet. If you get your Summit 1Gs on this game, I think he single-handedly boosted Sea of Thieves to something beyond what it could have ever been. Yeah. And I think, look at what Asmongold's doing to Final Fantasy XIV, which is already a very popular game.
Yeah.
But along with that and a bunch of other things, that game is just skyrocketing. I think the power of streamers is huge, and I think if you get a streamer like Lyric, I think Lyric's he could do a really good job playing this game, and he's got a big audience. Yeah. He plays like his Euro truck simulator games all the time. I think you get a guy like that enjoys it, and get people to play on there with you. I think that'll be good for at least a little while. But I think Jordan's right. It will taper off, and you'll get your normal players, just like any other game that's ever been made.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I'm very excited for it. That's this week, everybody.
Yeah, the 27th.
Which is what, Thursday? I think that's Thursday.
I don't know. I don't have my calendar pulled up.
It's the 23rd right now. It's Friday, 4th, 5th. Oh, that's Tuesday, everybody. Yeah!
Tuesday seems like a good day to release it.
Jumping into this bad boy. That's exciting. You mentioned Asmongold, and you mentioned Blizzard. I want to talk about Blizzard. Blizzard is in a maybe death spiral is hyperbolic, but at least a reputation spiral of flaming death.
They've definitely been in the news a lot.
Yeah, we talked about Blizzard last week, how we loved them growing up. They're the gold standard of video games. Then
we talked about some of the posts that were made
by some devs on the team and
possibly real. We don't, it's just speculation.
Yeah.
But the more things come out, the more they probably looks real.
Oh my goodness. So for those of you that don't know, Blizzard is being accused of a lot of really bad things inside of their corporation.
They're being sued by the state of
California. And it's all allegations, so we have to say that. But
innocent before proven guilty.
Yes,
for sure.
I will say it would not surprise me. They've taken their eye off the ball.
So, can I just say the allegations, after reading them and everything, it is so bad.
Yes,
it's really bad.
It is really like bad. Wolf of Wall Street bad. It is like, it is so bad that you're like, it can't be real. It's like an episode of Mad Men. I was telling Jordan this. It's like watching an episode of Mad Men, reading the allegations.
You're like, people used to do that in Mad Men?
Go read them. I'm not going to talk about
them. We'll go over them.
There's a lot
but
of
what is interesting, Jordan brought this up earlier when we were talking about it. What's interesting is no wonder all of the original guys, like all of your big players from the original golden era of Blizzard are gone. The culture shifted, and it's clear, and it shows in the games. They're just not what they once were.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. They're so far beyond that. Allegedly. I'm going to add allegedly a lot on this, because it's almost like it's not funny. Obviously, it's not funny if it's true. And it's not funny if it's false.
It seems so sensational.
It's so bizarre that it's to that degree.
Yeah,
that
it's bad.
You can't. It has to be made up, right? It's people don't act like that.
Well, we're going to find out. Blizzard did make a statement and say we are going to refute these in court and believe that we can. So who knows? We'll see
what happens. Yeah,
regardless,
it is all alleged stuff, but
regardless,
it's not looking good in their favor.
I just think the damage has been done, and I think that even if it's not true, it's just another thing that tarnishes the reputation of Blizzard. And had you been player focused, player first, traditional Blizzard would have never allowed these allegations to even. There'd be no chance of them even being remotely true.
Because they wouldn't be.
Because they're super focused. And that's we talked about EA with Battlefield 2042. They just seem super focused. This seems like the best Battlefield that we've gotten in a while. They seem hyper focused on building a game, not on anything ancillary, on building the game. And Blizzard just unfortunately seems to have gone away from that, which is a shame.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Although
it
I have
does
been
not-
feeling this pretty hard for the last 4 years in Overwatch and Hearthstone.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it is, well, like you said, it is all alleged stuff, and they'll have their day in court to tell their side of the story. But it doesn't look good. It's basically, it's,
And this is not upper management stuff. This is all like, from what we understand, this is all the allegations are like the regular
employees.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think it
But
has,
I think
to a
it's
degree it has to it how do you say this? If all these are true and it is like lower end employees, it is I
It's a
do
cultural issue.
I do blame upper management for not
It's like it really
not
is,
noticing what's going on in your own.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
There's this episode of Mad Men. It's like one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen. There's this episode where it shows this fight take place. Like it shows this one guy punching another guy because he dissed this girl. In the girl, a big brawl starts happening, and the two bosses come up from the right side, stage right, stage left, and say, you want to go get a drink? You know, in front of the camera while that's happening in the background, and then they just walk off. Jordan, that's exactly what you're saying. To an extent, you have to know that stuff like that's going on.
I get, because there's like, if you read the allegations and stuff, like there's a lot of bad stuff. So if it's, and it's not, there's a lot of bad stuff, and we'll see what happens, right? I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff coming out that tends to lean towards a lot of this is true. Which, if that's the case, that's really bad. And if it is true, I mean, there's a lot of people to blame if you let it get that bad.
I just think it's a shame. I just think it's a shame because Blizzard is
it really
so
is.
iconic
It really is.
and just a shame. Let's talk about a company who's refocused. Battlefield 2042. We watched that trailer. Let's bring up that trailer.
Pull up that
the
trailer,
the new maps there. So basically, Battlefield announced that you're going to be able to pull in maps. Basically, Forge from Halo. You can create,
but not
pull in maps.
quite Forge.
Yeah.
So it's their
version.
I would call it their version of Forge. It's called Battlefield Portal. It was announced at EA Play this week. It's their version of Forge. Is the best way to describe it. So you can't actually, manipulate the map or make custom maps. But what you can do is there's maps from all different Battlefield games. There's gear, gadget, weapons, vehicles from all different Battlefield games, and you can mash them all together and create different game modes, different scenarios that you want to play. It's really cool. So I feel like it's their version of like a light Forge mode for Battlefield, which I think this is great. You're going to be able to pull stuff from Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2, which I think is one of the greats.
Yes.
Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 2042, and they specifically said these games will be there at launch, which tends me to believe, I wonder if they'll add more of their games
Oh yeah, no,
later,
I think so.
like Battlefield 2142, which was their futuristic
or even
game,
Bad Company. Why
Yeah.
the first one?
Well,
Why
I
is
think
that
because Bad Company 2 basically has all Bad Company 1 stuff.
not the golf course.
Yeah, you're right.
The best map in
So
any
Battlefield
ever.
what they did is they kind of took fan favorite maps from each of those games, and you're allowed to play in them. This is all within the new game. This is all a game mode that you can play. And just to give you guys examples, in the trailer they show off a mode where it's German soldiers with knives versus modern day soldiers with defibrillators.
Yeah.
And it's
Knives
knives versus
versus
defibrillators.
There it
Yeah,
is.
so-
Here it is, right here on the screen.
in the trailer.
It is hilarious.
and it's super cool. They had different content creators. They gave them like a little snippets of the game, and they said, "Hey, create something for us." One guy, I forget who it was. It was either I don't know. I know Redacted was one of them. But anyway, the game mode was basically it was called Quality versus Quantity, and it was 32 German soldiers with German loadouts versus a squad of modern day soldiers. So it's basically the old technology had more people, but the modern technology, automatic rifles, all the gadgets had less people, and it's who wins. So you can do crazy cool different game modes like this. It's all by the community. So it's basically gonna be kind of how I would imagine it is how Forge is. You kind of search for game modes and you play them.
Well, we just saw a scene where a guy is driving a Jeep through the snow, and a soldier blows him up with some TNT, tosses the car into like the hovercraft plane in the sky. It looks so cool.
You're describing a sandbox.
Yeah, this is sandbox.
That's what this game mode is. It's literally their sandbox. This is what they were talking about when they said this is our love letter to the Battlefield fans.
And it looks so good. They seem so focused. This seems like the best Battlefield we've gotten in.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. They also did talk about during EA Play that Hazard Zone. They didn't show off Hazard Zone, which is still the mysterious game mode that everybody wants to know about. They're going to show that off later this year.
Interesting. Is Hazard Zone going to be their
Well, that's the one
Battle Royale?
Well, that's the one people are guessing because they specifically said it's not a battle royale, which I don't think it's a traditional battle royale, but a lot of people, because it's high stakes, high reward, and it's not a battle royale. So, David, you actually said this, and I called you stupid. So
yeah.
I mean, who knows? But on the internet, people are speculating maybe it's kind of like a Tarkov type mode.
It could
high
be.
stakes, high reward, not a battle royale, because Tarkov is technically not a battle royale, even though it kind of is.
The thing
But
is,
it's not, and Tarkov is a high stakes. So some people are. I mean, there's other speculations and stuff, but that is one that's
it's only
floating
a
around.
matter of time before a AAA studio jumps on a Tarkov style game. This really intense risk reward. You lose everything inside the game, and it would complement. Honestly, it would complement Warzone really well. Maybe you go earn your games in Warzone, and then there's special guns only in the Tarkov mode that you can get. I don't know how you work it, but I think
Warzone. I'm confused.
Well, like their battle royale,
Oh.
maybe in battle royale, they complement each other. Somehow.
Well, I don't think
You
they're
have
going
them
to
work
have
together.
a battle royale.
Anyways,
Yeah. Okay.
what I'm saying is this could be the first AAA studio to do a Tarkov style.
Yeah,
game.
that's one of the rumors that people are floating around the internet, because all we know is it's high stakes, high reward, and I think we know it's squad gameplay.
And what would be fascinating about Battlefield is the destruction aspect in it. So you would have single shot. Would the game mechanics play? You'd have to turn down the time to kill and everything to make it.
Well, that's
more
I mean,
realistic.
Tarkov's time to kill is so quick, anyways. That's why it's.
That's like a real bullet.
Well, that's how they. I mean, they tried to make it like a reality style shootout. If you got shot with any gun, you're gonna die or get really hurt.
Yeah, and I don't think Battlefield will be like. I don't think it'll be a hardcore crazy mode like Tarkov, but
what if
it
they
might
did,
have
though?
some elements.
If you
What
did
if they did do a hardcore game? Because I'm gonna objectively. I mean, that game Tarkov came out in 2010. I think it's an 11-year-old game that still pulls weight.
Yeah.
It's still a top 5 game on any streaming that you go see.
Oh yeah.
And that is because of wipes. I believe that wipes keep the longevity of a game forever. I think it's one of the only things that keep it that viable for as long as they have is they have. For those of you that don't know, the game is about accruing gear and accruing weapons, and it's a simulation with you have to eat and drink and stuff like that. If you bring in food, and if you bring in armor, and if you bring in guns, and you die into the map that you go into, you lose everything. And so...
And that stuff is hard to obtain.
And
Good
that's
items.
your high
Very
risk
hard.
reward.
Yes, there's
obtain.
bad weapons and there's good weapons. So you would accrue a bunch. You'd hoard a bunch. You'd say, okay, I'm keeping these night goggles for night maps, which Jordan, by the way, had like 20 last wipe.
I think it was like 16.
And yeah, exactly. So you accrue this so you can pay to play, not with real money, but you pay the price to get into a map and attempt to win because you're bringing the gear and the ammo, the stuff that costs money and is difficult to obtain, to try to succeed. The better the gear you bring, the higher the chance that you'll have to survive. However, the more expensive and difficult that gear is to get, so it's a high risk, high reward. Now, if that game never wiped, that game would have died years ago. But the fact is, they every 8 to 10 months they say, okay, the game is now new. It's you lose everything, start over, do all the challenges, do all the things, which is another part of the game that's very fun and difficult. You have to do certain things to get certain things later. Okay, essentially. So if you add that to a game that you are now the game style of today is infinite gameplay, Halo Infinite. It's perpetual. You don't want to make another version of that game again. why not add that style of Tarkov to wipes that essentially make a game last forever?
Yeah, I think if you think about the name Hazard, Hazard could denote that, hey, this is coming here it's hazardous to your health. Come in here, it's easier to die. It's risky for you. I think it would be very cool because they already have level destruction. They nail the environment and sound. Battlefield is known for top tier sound, and these survival games, sound is key.
Sure. I just think if you want a game to last as long as you can without having to come out with another one, I think the most efficient form of that is doing wipes. Seasonal wipes.
I agree. I also think there's a chance that we might get this too, because when you look at Battlefield Portal, Call of Duty is not doing anything like that. And what Call of Duty did is went Warzone, and I think they sat down and said, okay, how do we retool Battlefield here to really make a splash, to compete once again? We can't just keep copying. We have to lead. I think doing this Portal is a part of that. It's going to have something that no other top tier first person shooter has outside of like a Halo, but this is a completely different version of that. Mm-hmm. And then you do something like a survival mode. I think that's another shift in a different direction, doing your own thing, leading, so to speak, in the genre.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this mode and kind of what we're seeing with Battlefield answers the question of why EA is pulling so many studios on it, because can you imagine the amount of assets you have to remake for this mode alone?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, all the 2042 assets you can just pull over.
What do you mean? You just right click and copy?
Yeah, copy and paste.
Isn't it easy?
Yeah.
But
run as
you gotta go
administrator?
through. You gotta go because I don't think you could just use it because they're all in different engines. I mean, kinda, right? The different versions of the Frostbite, but like going back to Bad Company, you have to go in and recreate all that stuff. Yeah. So all the maps you have to recreate and then rebalance for the new. I think in chat they were saying Caspian Border 64 versus 64. Which is going to be Caspian Border is a really popular map.
But
it's going to be interesting.
I think the theory might be true.
Well, what I think about Hazard Zone is I think it's going to be more like Dark Zone from Division.
Which
is kind of like Tarkov,
which is a survival mode, yeah.
And have a wipe.
But just do it properly, because Dark Zone was never done properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the wipe, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it just brings so much people back into the game every 8 months. It just people start playing it again.
Duro Ryan says, I don't think a survival mode fits the Battlefield moment mantra they have lived by for several years. I can see that they're all about all of these things happening around you at once. You could still have that though in
its own game mode.
In its own game mode.
Yeah.
This sandbox mode would be those Battlefield moments.
Yeah, and then of course you have your regular modes.
But then also, it doesn't need to be as sneaky as a Tarkov or anything like that. You could just do the Battlefield version of it. And basically what that is risk reward. So you're in one-shot kill with the team. Maybe it's 64 versus 64. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I think you could do it correctly in a Battlefield version. That would be so intriguing to see.
Yeah.
I mean, all you'd need is a currency that you can, take down weapons or sell weapons for. And so as long as you have a currency that you can buy gear, have an armor set, a weapon set, something super simple, just use the weapons that you have. You basically buy your loadout that you want to take in.
Yeah.
And have an inventory. Oh, no, you don't even need inventory space. You could just do that same concept with a currency built specifically for that game mode.
Yeah. It would be.
It'll be interesting. Well, and the reason I'm okay. They're not basing the whole game around this mode. This is a mode within the game. What's nice about that is if you don't like this mode, then you can go and play your traditional modes or different modes that you like. That's why games like Call of Duty have. You have team deathmatch, capture the flag. You have your different game modes,
sure.
Right? What they need to do with these modes, both Battlefield Portal, because you have your base mode, you have Battlefield Portal, and then you have this new Hazard Zone. What they need to do with both of these modes, Battlefield Portal and this Hazard Zone, is one, make them good and fun, right? Mm-hmm. But two, do not give up on them after a week, like you did with Firestorm. And that was the biggest mistake they ever made with Firestorm. First of all, they brought Firestorm and put it behind a $60 paywall that they then told you not to buy. So that was your first problem. The second problem is it felt like to me they gave up on Firestorm after a week. They're like, we thought there'd be more players, so whatever, we just give up. And it's like, no, don't give up. There's a lot of good stuff in there. The armor system from Call of Duty came from Firestorm because it was a similar armor system, and Firestorm had some good features. It just needed to be refined and tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, no, I don't think that will be the case.
No,
with
the
this
vibes I'm getting is it's not going to be the case, and it, like you said, David, it does feel like they're focused, and it feels like they're focused on what matters, gameplay.
fun factor.
They're focused on
factor.
the right things. This
And
time.
I think back to Duro Ryan's point, it does feel like every time we watch these, that it is this distinct Battlefield moment happening on screen, and that I think was missing a little bit from the last Battlefield. It doesn't seem to be missing here. This is uniquely Battlefield.
Yeah.
Fun, tongue in cheek, but also serious.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and it's nice because when Battlefield, like, some people may be upset that there's no single player campaign, but the original Battlefields didn't come. They were multiplayer only. That's what Battlefield was.
Yeah, Death Star Destroyer in chat, Austin Flowers says, make them separate downloads too. So if I hate Hazard, I don't want it to take space on my hard drive. Interesting. I think
agree
that's
with
going to be
you.
built into the Series X. That's that smart technology that they use when they download.
No,
I forget the feature.
no, it's called Smart Delivery. That's
Smart
not
Delivery.
for modes. That's for assets.
Yeah, so that makes it so you
damage.
can play the game.
So
okay.
Duro, I think that
Faster.
I agree with you, and I think that'd be cool. I highly doubt that they'll do that though.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, look at Call of Duty.
Yeah,
They
I mean-
want you. Think of it as what it is the console version of a launcher.
Yeah.
Of the Blizzard launcher.
I mean,
but it's the Call of Duty
Call
launcher.
of Duty now lets you download Warzone separately, but I mean, it's I
They
don't
want you in that ecosystem to see, hey guys, we have a new update for this. Download it now and play.
Yeah.
Buy this pack.
But no, I'm excited for Hazard Zone because I think it'll be a unique thing to Battlefield, and I do trust the people in charge of the studio that are making it, because I think this is a DICE LA, which I think is being renamed to Ripple Effect, who actually helped out with this mode. Funny enough,
Yeah.
that's Vincent Pelli's.
I'm excited for it.
I
If you've seen the trailers, I don't see how you're not excited for
Yeah.
it. So, I want to talk about a game I've been playing this week, if you guys don't mind. Death Door.
Death's Door.
Death's Door.
It's.
I'll pull up gameplay.
I have been thoroughly enjoying it. Sometimes, and everybody can relate to this, when you're stressed out, stressed to the max, and just working a ton, there are games out there that you think that you want to play, and you jump into and you're like, this is too much work. It's too it's too heavy of a game. It's too tedious. It's a great game. It might be a world-class game, 10 out of 10, game of the century. I'll give you an example. I think Witcher 3. Witcher 3, considered one of the best RPG games of all time. If I'm super stressed out already in my life, it's not a game that's not a game that I want to jump into, because that game will add more stress to my life.
Yeah.
This game allows me to escape and enjoy what gaming is about. I thoroughly enjoy this. I saw it because I saw a lot of reviews out there talking about it. I saw a lot of people. This is console exclusive to the Xbox, by the way. It's on PC
interesting.
and only Xbox. It was created by two guys, and they did a fabulous job. It has this character and this feeling. I don't know what the right word is. But
It's got a good feeling.
it's got a good feeling. It feels
good.
Nintendo's really good at this. They create a very distinct game with a lot of character, and that's how this feels. There's a lot of character here, and it's just fun. The music's really good. It's like it's a platformer, but it's a isometric platformer. I don't know, is that the right word for it?
You're using words
Top down,
that I don't know.
and it's just fun. It's simple gameplay. This is, I think,
You
what
bring your education down to my level.
to me this reminds me of why you fall in love with gaming in the first place. Simple, task oriented, and every single task battle, there's a map that you have to explore and open up different ways. And did I go this way? Oh no, I didn't. I got to come back. And then as you get to other sections of the map, so for instance, I'm in this mansion with witches right now.
I hear you, man.
The witches mansion. And there's new gameplay mechanics introduced to you, and you've got to go back, level up in order to beat things, and it's just a ton of fun. Death's Door. It's only $16. Completely
Oh, is it
worth
not on Game Pass?
It's not on Game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're playing a
Sorry.
game not on Game Pass for once.
Wow, that's really surprising.
You spent money?
But
What an idiot.
What I like about this is a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
If you are someone who right now can't find a game that you want to play, you're burnt out or something, the summer blues have hit, everybody goes through these funks. This is a nice palate cleanser, in my opinion. I'm just
How did you find this game? Just browsing?
because reviews. I was just
okay,
watching,
yeah.
looking, pay attention to gaming news. Everybody's clamoring about it. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad I tried it out. Spicy, you got a little first impression of it. You played the
sure.
initial first level. What are your first impressions of this
It's
game?
fun. It kind of get like a little bit of Diablo vibes, but not at all at the same time.
Diablo look without the look.
It's a fun little game. It's an isometric view, top down. I mean, I only played a good 30 minutes of it so far, so I'm only in the first couple levels. I played it just before the show here.
The premise,
with you.
Yeah, the premise is you're a crow and you're a soul reaper. You're out collecting souls. Something happens and you've got to find the soul that you lost and collect other souls in order to open up, quote unquote, death's door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a really cool game. I mean, I like it so far. It's very simple, enjoyable. There's progression in it. You can level things up. I'm glad I have it in my library now, so I can play it when I need a palate cleanser.
Yeah, palate cleansing.
Palate cleansing.
That's our friend.
Got to get the grim and crud off from Tarkov off my arms.
Another game that got previewed this week by a lot of gamers, developers, streamers was Psychonauts 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that. What are?
Yeah, and multiple people, everybody that's played it raves about it, and everybody's saying this shows you what the Xbox Series X can do, and
It's showing what it can do. I would
and
not think that of that game.
this is a reason to buy the Series X, and contender for Game of the Year.
what?
Yeah.
That Tim Schafer. I've
Which-
always said
which is
he
interesting.
knows
So-
what he's doing.
I never played the first Psychonauts, so this wasn't on my radar. I know Psychonauts 2, okay, it has its fan base. It wasn't for me. Reading the previews, the reviews, makes me want to play Psychonauts 2.
Yeah. Well, it comes out soon, doesn't it?
Comes out in August. Yes,
Yeah.
about a month.
That's super cool. Well, I'm a big Tim Schafer fan. I'm still playing Full Throttle. You got to play Full Throttle. Talk about an awesome palate cleanser.
Yeah, and that is on Game Pass.
Yes. All his games are on there. That's cool. We talked about this when we were watching the show or that game get developed, Psychonauts 2, many times. How the actual gameplay was better than the cutscenes.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder
if that's the
they
case.
did the cutscenes first.
Oh, and then
They're
do the
like, hey,
gameplay.
we have new
just
hardware.
to show stuff off.
and we got a fat Microsoft checkbook behind us.
And then it became they actually said that it shows off what the Xbox Series X can do.
It shows it off.
Wow.
It's a reason to get the Series X or to get an Xbox.
Wow, that's exciting news.
Well, I mean, if that is the case, how long has it been since my Xbox has had a Game of the Year contender?
Oh, an exclusive Game of the Year?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think a lot of the journalists even own Xboxes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's the problem. Or they might now that Xbox is becoming a lot more popular, but I really don't think they ever played any of the games.
This could be the beginning of a new age where we're getting Game of the Year contenders finally for the Xbox. So that's super exciting.
Super neat. Console exclusive though, so it's still on PC. Oh, that's right. So journalists have PC, so that's how they'll play it.
Yeah, well, I
Makes
mean,
sense.
Game Pass.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little jabs here or there at the industry. I gotta put those in occasionally.
Andrew, speaking of Game Pass, Andrew Courtney writes in. And then let's talk about EA Play as well, because some things were announced at EA Play.
Yes, a
outside
lot of good
Battlefield.
things, actually.
But Andrew Courtney writes in and says, the next few weeks for Game Pass are looking stacked. It has never been a better time to get in. Has Game Pass really opened you guys up to playing more indie games? If so, which have been some of your favorites? Well, Brutal Legends, right there, Spicy. A game that he's jumped back into.
No,
because it's on Game
Full
Pass.
Throttle. But
Full
Brutal
Throttle,
Legends
sorry.
is another Tim
Sorry,
Schafer game.
sorry.
Tim
Sorry,
Schafer and a Jack Black.
And a Jack Black.
Sorry. Chad is talking about Brutal Legends. But no, Full Throttle.
Yeah, it's a quick game too. You could probably beat that in like 2.5 hours, David. Just so you know, you like those short, quick, and easies.
Yes, I like it.
It's
A game that my name is Pedro. I jumped into because it was on Game Pass that I otherwise would not have played. Super fun.
I think I'm more of a unique individual, where I went through this fad of indie games back in like
Before they were cool.
2012 to 2016. Yeah. That was like the golden era of indie games.
Was
Although
that the 360 marketplace when you had like Meat Boy and all that?
Well, it wasn't. It was indie developers didn't really go to Xbox. It was all Steam.
Oh yeah.
But that's where I played Meat Boy, Super Meat Boy, and Hotline Miami, and FTL, and all those cool games that I think were. I mean, I love those games, and I think it was a little bit more challenging for indie developers to publish to consoles.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the reasons. Although PlayStation does have a good representation of indie games too. So I've played a lot of them already. And so I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer this. But to that extent, having these games on my Xbox is really fun for me because now I can get achievements.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I know a lot of people don't care about achievements, but I still enjoy them. I like challenges. I mean, I'm going back through Forza 4 trying to get 3,600 achievements, or no, 3,600 I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
DJ.
no, it's super cool that indie games are a lot more prevalent and available on Game Pass for sure.
Agreed. DJ Hero writes in and says, "Don't sleep on Bloodroots. Super fun game on Game Pass." I've not taken a look at that yet. Definitely have to. EA Play. Part of the Battlefield news that we talked about already came from EA Play. Jordan, give me what stuck out to you most during EA's event this week. Yeah, Battlefield.
To be honest, that's why I tuned in. Everything else was good, but the reason I tuned in was to see
a big one that's
so.
being remade that I want to jump into because I know a lot of people really enjoy this game. It has some unique mechanics. Dead Space.
Yeah, they're remaking the game.
And one of the unique things is as you shoot the creatures, like you shoot their arm falls out. Like
like
appendages.
limbs. Aim for the limbs.
Yeah.
You know, I know Dead Space 1 and 2 were very well received, and then I think Dead Space 3 did the Dragon Age 2 approach where they kind of like
changed their
they went more action-y, like not necessarily a bad game, but
not a horror game.
Not what the originals were type of thing. So, but Dead Space Remake is really cool. They did Grid Legends, which actually looks really fun. It's a simulation racer. It's the kind they showed off their story mode, which is basically like real people talking to you. It was actually kind of cool. Apparently, they're using the same technology as the Mandalorian does.
Oh, I like it.
You know, so they're doing that.
So it's that armor they're using.
Yeah, but no, it's kind of like a TV show or a movie that you're watching as you're playing. Like, you remember the old like Command and Conquer games where like the general would talk to you, but it was like the real actor. It's kind of like that, or like some of the Need for Speed games,
or the original SWAT games. Do you guys remember the SWAT games?
Yeah,
it was real actors, and then you would go in with SWAT. Those guys were fun. Man.
Yeah, they were. And then a big one, Apex Legends Emergence, the new season coming out, which is introducing a new hero, Seer, which is very cool. Would you guys like to hear his abilities?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
The trailer looked.
They are doing so good with their stories.
Their trailer was really well done.
What's it called?
It's called Apex Legends Emergence. It's we're gonna get gameplay this Monday, this Monday, July 26th, and then August 3rd is when the Emergence will actually release live to all the players. But we get a new hero, Seer. He's a tracker type character. He's similar to Bloodhound, but a different. We'll go through the abilities. So his passive, I believe this was his passive. When he ADSs, he has like a heartbeat sensor on screen, and I don't know how far it goes or how you know what I mean, but it'll help track people.
He's a seeker.
So his tactical is drones that reveal and track people, so like they'll go and reveal someone, kind of like Bloodhounds, where he can kind of like scan and see people. So I assume this one's similar. Instead, Bloodhounds is more an AOE, whereas I think the drone is like a singular target, which will be interesting. His ultimate is going to be really cool. So his ultimate drops. It uses these drones, but it makes this zone, and all enemies within that zone who are moving quickly are shown to the players. Which is interesting that they said moving quickly. So if that bubble drops, you can walk slowly through it and not be seen. But if you're running or sprinting, you'll be shown. So
interesting.
The devs were basically saying they're excited to see what people do with this because they think it's going to throw in some interesting gameplay scenarios and fights and stuff like that when this ability is used in different areas. So really cool. Yeah, August 3rd is when Emergence comes down and launches for everybody. And then this Monday, the 26th, we're going to get actual gameplay reveal because right now we just have a cinematic trailer. which again they've nailed. It looks really good.
They do so good on their cinematics.
They really do. Jordan, Final Fantasy Online. I jumped into it this week. Is it coming to? Do you think it will come to Xbox? I would like it to come to Xbox.
I don't know. I hope it does. I think you should just let the people play.
I'll tell you where they suck though. Their launcher, or they're like trying to figure out their store to
it's
buy the
terrible.
game.
I think everybody universally says like they're
basically called the Mog store or whatever. It's called?
there's the Mog Station, which is where you like. That's not the store. That's where you manage your account, and then there's the Final Fantasy, the Lodestone, which is the Final Fantasy 14 website where you get like developer information stuff and different things, and then there's like the Square Enix store.
It was confusing to figure out what to get.
And then you don't know which one to buy because you have to buy the Steam one or the Windows one or the Mac one. Or
choose the right Windows.
Yeah. It's really and because
or
of
Microsoft Excel.
Because of the influx of players, a lot of people have been complaining about that, and it is not good. I mean, criticism
just
where criticism
simplify
is. Yeah, it's not. It's pretty hard. I mean, people are complaining to a company about wanting to give them money.
Yeah, that's
they're like, guys,
basically what it
you
was.
need to fix it so we can give you money. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to give you money.
It's really fun though. I've enjoyed it so far. It's definitely, and everybody says the first part is a little bit old, and I can see that, but it's still fun, and it is very story focused.
Yeah, I think a game that you would like that I tried out this week is New World.
Oh yeah,
I
how
actually
did that go?
specifically
You
thought
streamed
of
that.
you.
Yeah, you streamed it.
Mark,
Why?
I think you would like it too, just because there's a lot.
Thanks
to
for not leaving me out.
No, there's a crafting. They're crafting like leveling and system. For some reason, it reminds me a lot of RuneScape. But basically, like there's the game is very. Given I'm early, but the game is very crafting focused.
Okay.
Which I like.
And is this
it's very like you have to level up your skinning to get the better skinning stuff, and that's why I think you'll like it because there's that
progression
of stuff. I think you'll like it because I think that's just more your like it's you can log in and kind of do what you want for a little while and then log out and still feel like you've progressed.
I like that.
So with I think their crafting system is really good, but
This is open beta?
Well, it's closed beta. You have to either get a code or pre-order the game to play it.
Okay.
But I mean, you can just pre-order the game. And then,
this is Amazon's MMO, correct?
Yeah, you can just pre-order the game and then return it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't support doing that, but it is something you can do if you want to play the beta.
Guys, that does us for this week's Spicy.
Before we leave,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about something real quick.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So I started watching this show on Amazon. That made me start to think about this. Amazon Prime. And then we were talking about a remake of EA coming out with Dead Space. And I know we've talked about this before, but are we running out of ideas for IPs?
We might be.
Because I watched this show.
What is the show?
And it made me feel so good about watching a new story.
Because it was a new story.
It was a new one, yeah.
What was the show?
So can I? I'll tell you on the show,
okay,
and
okay.
it's an awesome show. I think I told you about this, Jordan. So I got this. On YouTube you get these clips that are just like random. It's just how YouTube algorithms work. It was a scene from this show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? I gotta find it. It's a show called Invincible on Amazon Prime. It is a cartoon, it's a cartoon how X-Men and Spider-Man were from the 90s.
Like a DC
it's in that
Comics cartoon, yeah.
Like that style. Not DC, so just like the Marvel style
Marvel, okay.
comic. It's not like Gotham and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but it's like you're the golden era of cartoon comics from the 90s. And it's like if that were Watchmen, like if it were, if superheroes had like real powers, what would happen to normal people if they tried to save them? Like there's a scene. It's very bloody, just so you know. It's like really gruesome. It may look like it's a show for kids. Don't watch it with your kids. But I watched the first episode. I want you to watch this, David. And Jordan, did you watch it yet?
No, not yet.
I want you guys to watch the first episode because the end of the first episode is just it gets you to watch the rest of them. And when we were talking about Dead Space coming out, and I saw the new He-Man trailer, which I think He-Man is coming out either today or tomorrow or something. I got to, when I first heard they were redoing He-Man, I got really disappointed. But then I got really excited after seeing the trailer. My question is, are we running out of ideas? Because new IPs are getting so rare.
In video games or in
video
anything?
games. In video games. That's
Because I think in movies, particularly, or even TV shows, you're playing off of a generation that grew up with television. So going back to what they loved is easy dollars, and if you do it right, so you're banking on an automatic built-in customer base there that a new IP doesn't have, that you have to work towards, marketing budget, the whole shot. In video games, I mean,
because we're starting to like.
it's true. Look at like
everything's-
PlayStation. Look at the most successful known PlayStation IP. God of War was number 4, technically 5. Which one was it?
It was God of War 4. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
We're going back to remakes
Minus all the handheld versions there.
of Final Fantasy VII.
Correct.
Is a remake,
Yeah.
but it's it's
see,
a new game,
and now it's
too.
Dead Space. You know, I think that was like one of the big things.
I don't know that we're going back. I think it's like a platformer. So, for instance, you don't need to redo Mario Brothers because it's that platform is timeless. The way that the mechanics work, these games that were really good in their time in this new 3D world are not timeless. So, bumping them up to on a modern engine with modern physics, making them good again for a new generation of players is more what's happening. It's going to be interesting. Like a game like Avowed, a new IP. What is that? Is that actually a new game, or is it a Skyrim 2.0?
Sure. Anyways, it got me thinking. You should watch that show, by the way.
Yeah.
Like Invincible. Look at Duro's comment. It's violent as you could. It is very violent.
Super Shocker says,
it's great.
Super Shocker says the last new idea was Fortnite.
Hey, that's funny because Fortnite is a complete ripoff of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Like,
Which was from Arma. Arma mod.
it was his. Yeah, it was PlayerUnknown that did the mod. But and then every dance in there is a copy. Fortnite is. They figured out the China formula.
Fortnite is
They just
pop
copy
culture game.
shiz. Yeah, they just copy things, which is funny.
Yeah, I think we've just never had technology or a reason to redo games, and maybe this is the first time that's in. So it seems like we're running out of.
Well, and I
new
wonder if
ideas.
it's. I mean, obviously, it's a business thing. Like, for example, you're going to get sales with a remake of Dead Space.
Dead Space. Yeah.
I mean,
You're
it's in
risking
everything.
making a new one.
It's in everything too. It's in music. Everybody copies another song by Bob Dylan.
Well, I mean,
It's just
I
super
think
frustrating.
I think
something's working,
I think
something's working.
I think a good example is Mass Effect. I mean, Mass Effect Legendary Edition has had a lot of success, whereas Mass Effect Andromeda, from what I understand, single-handedly brought down the whole series.
You know, that's good. That's interesting. Now I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention.
Well,
This-
and one of my arguments was just call it something Mass Effect Andromeda. Just call it something else, and it would have been fine. They had to
because
have
it
the
had
Mass.
the Mass Effect label.
Yeah,
There was an
had the Mass
expectation.
Effect name on there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to pay attention. Now.
Okay, go watch Invincible though. You're gonna love
Okay, I
it.
will.
It is a. If you grew up watching those cartoons, and if you like
Gore.
comic gore, oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
Spicy, what's your gaming plans for this week? You got anything special happening, going on, doing?
For this week, I'm starting to get burned out from Tarkov. I want to go back to Forza.
Yeah, I feel
like
It's
we got to finish Dark Souls.
sorry. It's funny that you say that because I feel like I burnt out a lot quicker on Tarkov this time. Maybe we need to take like a break between
two-wipe-
lives. Yeah,
a
two-wipe
two-wipe
break.
Too white.
I mean, I still want to play and I still want to do things, but I don't feel like I'm there.
Like I would. Like you
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do, David. That's a great question.
Well, I'm
I will be
interested to
playing
see.
that
would. Death Store?
Death Store. Yeah.
It's a good game. I really like
I'll
that
pull
game.
up Forza again. I'm in need of a palate cleanser because of how stressful life has been. So.
Amen to that. Jordan, how about yourself?
I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm glad this is
We're all in a
podcast.
funk, man.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
summer.
Well, no, I feel like I've been leaning towards my computer lately with like because right now there's a lot of stuff coming out. I mean, there's Final Fantasies on a high right now. You know, so a lot of people are jumping into that. A lot of old friends are playing Final Fantasy again, so
Ooh.
it's fun to jump in there. New World's having the beta right now,
Oh
which
yeah,
New
we
World's
never talked about that. How are you liking that?
We actually talked about it during the show.
Did I just completely space out?
I said, Mark, I think you'll like this game.
I think you'll like this because it has craft. We spent like a whole segment on it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think
Onset of Alzheimer's has begun.
Hey, that's funny.
Alzheimer's moment.
Hey, speaking of, I'm glad you like that game.
Yeah. No, I think it's
you
really
did a great review.
I actually think it's really fun. It's always fun being in a new MMO because everybody's learning stuff for the first time.
Honestly, I tuned you out in the first half. I remember the discussion now.
No, but it's really fun. I'm excited for the full release, and there's a couple people in the community. Matt Ballsy, he's kind enough to invite me to his company. So we have a company and a server that we're going to be on, which will be really fun. But no, I think you guys will really like the crafting system in it. I think the crafting is really good. I think it's the best UI I've actually ever seen in a game.
Oh, and an MMO.
In an MMO. Okay, I'd say in an
MMO are not known for their great UI.
Yeah, no, this one is really good. Like, if the game sucks, I know where they put their effort,
Yeah.
I thought you've been liking it.
No, yeah, well,
According
I'm
to your review
early.
I paid a lot of attention to earlier.
No, I'm early. A lot. Like, we were streaming on Wednesday, and a lot of people were asking me what I think, and I feel like it's hard to rate a like an MMO, especially. Like,
an MMO is based on end game.
Well, it's based on a lot of things. I mean, it's based on the leveling experience, right? It's based on the end game. There's so many systems within an MMO. I don't feel like you can just play it for a week. I mean, I feel like you got to get 3 months in to really give it.
Well, an MMO is based on how enjoyable your time sink is.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So.
What is the release date of it?
August 29th.
Oh, so it's close.
Yeah, and the beta ends August 2nd, so it's like a 2-week beta.
Interesting.
I will say this, though. The servers have been pretty solid.
Solid servers.
And that's because we found out that Amazon owns 30% of the internet.
Yeah.
30 to 50%.
Yeah.
And they don't own it. Well, I guess technically they do. I was looking this up. If Jeff Bezos wanted to screw the world over, he would just turn off AWS.
Shut down his servers, yeah.
Just shut it down. Everybody uses that. Oh. And by the way, so he went to space,
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the rocket
his
ship?
Penis ship?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, wasn't it?
If I had $1 billion, like
the
if
Austin
I had
Powers
$1 trillion,
one?
But that's the thing, wasn't it? Because wasn't it like an upside down penis that like when it was launched?
best thing, dude. That is like
maybe it was. I think no. I bet you this is what it was. It was like, hey Jeff, what if there's other species out there?
No,
and I guarantee it was an intimidation thing. Like, what do we want other species to think of the human race first? Giant penis.
Giant wiener spaceships. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard. And I was reading interviews on like physics people, engineers and everything. And they're like, well, you could design it like that. Because like they were like doing the math.
What you're saying is, from an engineer's perspective, the penis is quite good. That's what it says.
Like they're like, you technically don't have to design it like that. I guess it's a design. It's just like it works, engineerically speaking.
That's funny.
But just this big wiener going out into space. That's what I just how we always talk about what we would do with $1 billion. I want a wiener spaceship.
Jeff Bezos did it.
I want a wiener spaceship. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Do you think that like came up during the design of it? It had to have.
Yeah,
it had to have. Like,
Mr. Bezos, sir, this looks like a penis. And he probably just went.
He just laughed.
Yeah. Let's not change
He just
it.
grabbed a crayon and drew it.
He
I
laughed.
want this.
He laughed and
Let's not
said,
change
"Somebody get me that cowboy hat."
I'm in the middle of a divorce. Let's not change it.
It's like the Homer vehicle that he designed with a crayon. Oh, on The Simpsons. Oh man, I was laughing so hard when I saw that. Thank you, Jeff Bezos, for making memes funny again.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you very much for listening and tuning in. If you haven't yet, rate, review, and subscribe to us over on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Come subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/XoneBros. We love hanging out with you guys each and every single week. It has been a blast. Go have fun gaming it up, and I'm just going to let you listen to this music on the way out. I'm going to remove my voice right now. Bye, everybody.
Really?
The build-up. Let it.
Oh, okay.
But there it is.
I'm walking around.